So what elements make a first-person shooter a good first-person shooter or a great first-person shooter? Well, today we're going to be talking about the elements that make the greatest first-person shooter. Let's have a talk about that. So what is going on, guys? CeeGee here today. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I know I am. And today we're going to be talking about a topic or a question that is always ripe on the lips of gamers, especially first-person shooter fans. And that is, what is the greatest first-person shooter of all time? Now, we are going to get to what the greatest of all time is, in my opinion, I would like to clarify. But I want to talk about what makes a good first-person shooter first. Now, for me, there are three key things. The first one is originality, which I will say straight up is why Call of Duty or none of the Call of Duty titles will ever be the greatest first-person shooter of all time. They lack originality. Everything has been done. World War II was done with World at War. The modern day shooter was done with Modern Warfare. The Vietnam War was done with Black Ops. All that really is left is World War One. But then you're stepping into Battlefield's territory, which is very dangerous ground because it will slap them silly. So originality is a big one. Obviously things like Battlefield are a little bit more original, but still take elements from their old games. So realistically, we're looking for a brand new IP, a new type of game, something that is fresh and completely new that we haven't really seen before. So that's point number one. Point number two is realism. Again, this is why Call of Duty will never ever win. It's not a realistic game. It's meant to be fun, I can appreciate that, and it's meant for people that just want to jump on, have a good time. But for me, a good time is something that is realistic and it's tense. Something that makes you feel on edge because it's so realistic is what I thrive for. Admittedly, the end of the campaign on World War II when you're walking through the German the concentration camps, that is eerily realistic and genuinely gave me goosebumps. It made the hairs on my neck stand up. It was so authentic. But when it comes to multiplayer, no one really does realism like Battlefield. It has the destruction, it has the bullet physics and velocity, it has really kind of authentic running styles, and even how people move is realistic. It has vehicles and planes which all abide the basic laws of physics and work like a plane would or a tank would. So realism is the second thing, but there is one more game that is just a bit more realistic than Battlefield. Can you guess what it is yet? If you can, type in the comment section below what time card this is, how far into the video you are, and when you guessed what it is, or what your guess is. Let me know in the comments down below what you think I'm going to be saying. So point number three now is immersion. Now this should be the dead giveaway for what I think is the greatest first-person shooter of all time. I'm going to be honest, when I play Call of Duty, I just don't feel immersed. I don't feel like I'm fighting for a bigger cause. I don't feel like I'm fighting for the British, nor the Americans, nor the Nazis, or anything like that. I don't feel like I'm trying to storm the beaches, or I don't feel like I'm trying to capture all the flags. I don't feel like it's worth anything. I just feel like all I'm going to get is maybe a supply drop at the end of this. When it comes to Battlefield and operations, or even Star Wars for that matter, you feel like you're part of something bigger. You feel like you are part of the Russian Revolution, or you feel like you are part of the storming of Starkiller Base. You feel like you actually are relevant in this war, and you actually play quite a big part. So those are my three elements of the first-person shooter. We have originality, we have realism, and we have immersion. So can you guess what it is yet? I'll let you have a few seconds to put your guesses in the comment section below before I ultimately tell you what it is. So, in my opinion, the greatest first-person shooter of all time goes to... Yep, that's right, you are now watching gameplay of it as well, and it is Rainbow Six Siege. Now, for all of you that are going to throw a hissy fit and say, oh my god, how could you even go with this game? It fell fat on its face at launch, blah, 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 blah. Hear me out. Okay, Rainbow Six Siege fell flat on its face at launch. It didn't do very well in the way of sales nor player count. But now, 2 years after the thing has come out, we've just had a year 3 season pass confirmation, and the game will be supported for a 3rd year, which is really big news. We haven't had a game that has had 3 season passes because it's that popular. Black Ops 3 only had that extra zombies DLC, the DLC 5, but there's not actually been a game, I don't think ever, when there's been more than one season pass, which goes to show how popular this game is. Rainbow Six Siege is chucking more operators out there, and people are lapping it up. They love this game, and it made a spectacular comeback quite recently, or not recently, but quite soon after it fell flat on its face. It just upped its game, it changed the gameplay, it changed the graphics, it changed all the operators' looks, and it became this absolutely incredible first-person shooter, which I would classify as the greatest of all time. Now let me justify my 3 points as well. So firstly, we have originality. It's new, it's fresh. Rainbow Six is a franchise in itself. This was meant to be Rainbow Six Patriots, but it got cancelled and turned into Siege. Rainbow Six Siege as an IP is something we have never ever seen before, which, I mean, instantaneously ticks the originality box. Okay, we've seen the whole secure area thing, maybe on like a hard point, or we've seen the bomb with search and destroy, but we've never seen taking the hostage and extracting the hostage in a game mode. I guess you could call it like capture the flag, but the fact that this is so different goes to show how they have perfected this and made it their complete own. You may say, well, secure area is like hardpoint. It's not, because the hardpoint changes. The secure area is on one place, on one map. You have to find where it is, you have to get in there, and you have to secure the area. It's quite simple, but it's also very, very difficult. With the bomb, instead of having to rush to pick up the diffuser, someone gets given it in the pre-game stage, when you first go in before you go in on your drones. You have to prime the diffuser and you have to wait. Now, all of these things, you may say, well, they're not original, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that Rainbow Six Siege is a new IP is a big enough reason to call this game completely fresh and new. Now, number 2 is realism. You cannot dispute this. I will honestly fight anyone that says Rainbow Six Siege is not a realistic game, because it is. It is the most realistic game I have ever played in my life. Like, what, 3 bullet kills, 1-shot headshots with any gun, even if it's a pistol. This game honestly takes kill times and killing enemies to the next level. You have to play so tactical, because even if you get hit with the slightest of shot, even if it's in the leg, you are going to lose a significant amount of health that is going to give you a disadvantage in any gun battle later on in that game, which is where the tactical side of things come into it. You will not succeed on this game if you don't have at least 1 or 2 friends to play with. I'm sorry, if you want to get this game and you are a one-man army, you're going to have to be really, really fucking good to carry your team, because this game is so difficult. I was playing last night with both of my brothers and 2 of their friends, and we were doing 5-mans on ranked, and we won 3 of our 4 games, and the only one that we lost, it went to a round 9. It was 4-4 in overtime, and we lost that final round. Now, for me, that just goes to show how having a team is so different. Me and Joe would quite often stay up until 7, 8 a.m. in the morning, going on 9 or 10, well, I say 9 or 10. We only ever hit 9 wins, and we wanted to get 10, but we could never ever do it. Me and Andy have won countless amounts of games in a row. Same with Freddie and Jordan. We would always just come on and absolutely annihilate people. But when I come on by myself, I tend to find it's a lot more inconsistent. Yeah, okay, I put my headset on and I try communicating with my team, but no one seems to communicate back. Everyone seems to just be playing their own kind of game, and that just leads to losses. I've lost so many games solo and won so many games when I'm in an actual team. Now, finally, the point of immersion. If this game doesn't immerse you, I don't know what will. There is nothing more tense than a 5 versus 5 on really small maps with 1-shot headshots, really short kill times, and really realistic gameplay. If that doesn't immerse you enough, then I don't know what will. When you're trying to sneak through an area or get on a flank with one of your friends while the others are getting distracting the enemy, or you want to try putting the bomb down, it is the most tense game I've ever played. I've had more edge of seat moments on this game than I have had out of every other first-person shooter combined. This game is honestly the definition of immersive, and I can honestly say that this game is, for me anyway, the greatest first-person shooter of all time, because it has originality, it is a realistic first-person shooter, and it has that really immersive feeling. So for me, the greatest first-person shooter of all time, and I am a very big first-person shooter player. You saw I've played Call of Duty World War II, regardless of the fact if I dislike it. I'm a huge fan of Battlefield 1, I played Battlefield 4, I've played both the Star Wars Battlefront games, I've even dived into Titanfall 2 a couple of times, so I've really played quite a lot of the stuff there is to play, and in my opinion, nothing really tops Rainbow Six Siege. So there you go, guys, that is my opinion on what the greatest first-person shooter of all time is. In my opinion, it is just Rainbow Six Siege. There is just nothing that even comes close to it. Regardless of whether my favourite first-person shooter is Battlefield 1, for me, the best one has to be Rainbow Six Siege. Now, that is all we have got time for today, guys, and if you have enjoyed this video, remember to smash the thumbs up, or if you have disagreed with me, let me know in the comments below. But if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe. It is free after all, and it would really help me out. And if you do want to be notified every single time I upload, so you can be one of the first in the world to watch me, hit this little bell right here, and then you will be notified every time your boy CeeGee uploads. Guys, I have been CeeGee, and this has been the greatest first-person shooter of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I will see you soon with a brand spanking new video. Goodbye!